All right, back in the basement again today to bring you through another day of training on Juggernaut AI. But however, today is an upper body focus day. It's day 2 out of 4 training days for me. And day 2 is typically just upper body type work right now, which I can appreciate, but I don't usually show. Normally when I show these training videos, it's like a squat day, a deadlift day, things that excite me. And bench is not as exciting to me. It is the most boring of the 3 lifts. And no surprise, it's also probably what I would consider my weakest of the 3 lifts, but that is okay. That's why we're here, we're training, we're going to get better. And since it's also a new day of a new block, cue the screen right here showing you exactly what's what, I actually get to pick my accessory work as well. So all it's prescribing me right now is Spoto pressing. I'm going to start off with that, but then I'll get into why I'm choosing what I'm choosing for accessories, because I always get asked about that. So let's go ahead and get on in it. All right, so Spoto pressing is all done. Ended up doing the top set around 275. Now, one of the issues I have with Juggernaut, and there's not very many, but there are some areas where I kind of nitpick a little bit. And Spoto pressing is one of those for me because it just tends to give me very light weight. Now, if I take a look at the actual app and take a look at what my 1 rep max is, it's like 325, which is basically around what my normal bench press max is, at least in the app itself. I would think that would give me a little bit heavier weight. And even when I put in heavier weight than it does, it's kind of a little bit slower to update. So there's a couple of things that I can do here, right? I can either just override it and just put in what feels right. Typically aim for around an RPE 7 on these sets. I know that from past experiences. I could go in and update my 1 rep max, but to be honest, I'm never going to test my 1 rep max in Spoto pressing. But if I play around with that, it might give me something that is more adequate, at least for today. But again, eventually that will probably kind of just be outdated. So for right now, I'm just going to kind of keep shooting for those RPE 7s and work my way up to that. But the problem is in terms of the app, it's just not really syncing that well. And again, it's a small little nitpick. So moving on, I'm going on to a back exercise, and this is where kind of the free range starts. I give a big list of exercises to choose from. My mind tells me I should be doing a barbell type exercises like pendlay rows, bent over rows, some of my favorite, but just knowing myself and knowing how long some of these workouts can take, especially if there's more volume on bench press, which typically the app prescribes a lot for me, I'm not going to want to set up the actual barbell and do that. That's going to take more time versus using something like the cable system, which is off to my right, where I can do either a vertical or a horizontal pull. There's some other options in there as well. So I'm really not sure, but I do like the variance that it provides you and the options to choose more. I try not to repeat a lot of the assistance work when I can from block to block. This is where I like to kind of spread my wings and kind of make it a little bit different so I don't get too stagnant outside of the main benching, squatting, and deadlifting. So I guess nothing left to do but to show you what I do, and then I'll talk about why I picked it probably after that clip. All right, so used my better judgment and went with the barbell movement, did barbell rows. Now, one of the things I always do starting a new block, especially if it's an exercise I haven't done for a while and haven't done barbell rows in a long time, is I try to start conservatively. I still try to hit what's prescribed, in this case, 3 to 4 reps in reserve left over. So I managed to do that on the second set, and there's only 2 sets, so not a lot of room for error. But even if I didn't hit that and went too light, that's okay, because I'll use that as a base to go into the next week, which the plan is to do this every week over the course of the next 5 weeks or so. So that's just how I take that. Now moving on to the next exercise, it's a shoulder movement. I might try to make up some time here and do something on the cable machine. We'll see, and you'll see after this next clip. All right, so I ended up doing some side lateral raises, and my thought process behind this was I just hit my front delts with bench, my rear delts with the bent over barbell rows. The medial delts don't get a lot of love typically in powerlifting. That is more of a bodybuilding style movement. At least that's what I remember it as when I used to be my bodybuilder days, which are long gone. But figured it was nice to complete the trifecta if you will. And it's something where I don't have to go heavy, but depending on my pacing of the movement, I can make it really difficult even with light weights, which is somewhat humbling, but also tells me that there's a lot of room for improvement there in my shoulder. Now, moving on to the end of the day, there's 2 more exercises left, both biceps and triceps. I'm almost certainly going to do my tricep exercise on the Prime HLP pull down, just because setting up like a easy bar curl or something else for triceps or a barbell, a lot of work. That's quick, that's easy, I wanna get done. And then what I'll do is superset in some bicep movements with the dumbbells behind me. So I'll combine those 2 clips and check in with you guys for the wrap up of today. All right, so all done. So for triceps, I did a single arm pull down with just a rogue nunchuck. So I have some hammer handles which have balls on the end, which make it easier to grip. So I'm thinking here that if I'm using just a single hand each, really working on that grip strength as well, which is something I really try to do when I bench, is squeeze the bar really, really hard. I think that's gonna have a nice carryover. I then superset that in with just some hammer curls on dumbbells. And that was it. Now, one of the things that I will state is when I'm picking accessory exercises, especially in week 1 of any block, I always usually choose just for today, meaning that I'm not 100% committed to those, because sometimes throughout the course of the week, I notice that maybe a certain movement leads to some extra soreness in an area that I don't want to carry over to my main compounds, or maybe I want something easier that I picked earlier in the week, later in the week, because those days could be potentially tougher, or maybe I just find they don't flow well overall and it ends up taking longer than I'd like. Today's session only took a little bit over an hour. I was able to speed mostly through it, which is nice to have. My day 2s and day 4s, my upper body days, usually do go quicker than my lower body days. But again, just something that I've noted over time. If you have any questions about the Juggernaut program, I've been running it for well over 2 years. I like it a lot, obviously. Code BASEMENT saves you 10% off your monthly subscription if you're interested. Links below. But let me know your questions or concerns or any other things you have to talk about. I'm here for you. In the meantime, as always, thanks for watching and stay big.